Alright, so Arc Raiders is in a pretty weird place right now, and I've had some discourse online. Some people really hate the fact that I like to go in and PvP, and I've seen a lot of other creators and people online in general just getting a lot of negativity surrounding the idea of killing other teams, taking their loot, getting out with it. To me, it seems like this game kind of needs PvP to really maintain a player base, so I don't necessarily understand the problem. And so I wanted to make a video today and talk about this game and sort through my thoughts and share them with you guys and open up the discussion and have some people drop some comments and let me know why you guys feel the way that you do. Maybe let me know if I'm not the only one that's a bit confused about the situation, because to me, PvP is a very important part of this game and arguably the most engaging part of this game. So it becomes a bit confusing whenever you are engaging in fights with other players and then people are mad at you for doing that. It doesn't really make sense to me. PvP in any game, but this game in particular, is by far the most engaging way to play. The arc are a threat for sure, and the bigger arc, the larger ones that you fight, can actually be enough to take out your entire team if you're not careful. But in general, I find that the arc don't have the best loot on them, especially the smaller ones, and even the larger ones. You'll burn through quite a bit of utility to try to kill one of them, a bunch of wolfpack grenades and other grenades and a bunch of ammo and heals and everything else to take out one of these bigger arc, and then you get most of the time a bunch of crafting materials for guns that you need the blueprints to even craft to begin with. If you play this game enough, you know the blueprints are pretty hard to come by. So there's a lot of material that I have sitting in my stash for guns that I can't even craft because I don't have the blueprint for them. So then I just end up stockpiling these materials and either sell them for cash or just hold on to them in hopes that in the future I'll get the blueprint that I need to actually make use of them. And when it comes to the smaller arc, the vast majority of them don't really drop anything of value most of the time. I mean, a lot of times, like, the best you're going to get is a blue. And so it honestly makes more sense to avoid them if possible and only kill them if you really need to. So that leaves me with one option, really, which is to go in and find a team and take them out and grab their loot. And another big point here is light ammo in this game in particular. The Stitcher, which if you've used the Stitcher enough times, you know that it's kind of useless when it comes to fighting Arc. It's just simply not designed to fight them. But if you put a light mag on it and you run it as a PvP weapon, it can absolutely fry an entire team. Why would this gun even exist if not to kill players? It's not supposed to kill Arc. You're definitely not killing any of the bigger Arc with it. It's 100% designed to take out a person in close range. It's a cheap gun. You don't have to spend a bunch to get it. You can craft it easy, and it's obviously there so that you can drop somebody and take their gear. So this whole side of the game is a bit confusing because I find that my best raids always come from taking out a team or two and grabbing all their loot and getting out with it. I have a short on my channel already where I see a team fighting the queen, and I can tell that they're inside a building and that they're not looking at me. And so I go up to the building, I open the door, I get in, they're facing out the other way, they're fighting the queen. I shoot them in the back and I take all of their stuff. And they were absolutely juiced. They had pink guns on them, hole crackers, a pink shotgun, I believe a Tempest. I made it out of that raid so thick. And it was incredibly rewarding for me to do that. I'm sure it was frustrating for them, and I'm sure they weren't very happy that I did that to them. But in my mind, you're making a bunch of noise on the map trying to fight the biggest enemy on the map, and you've put yourself in a situation where you are going to need to be aware of the fact that you're probably going to get attacked by somebody. And if it's not me that's going to do it, somebody else is going to do it, and you're going to lose all your stuff anyways. And this brings me to my next point, which is, in general, fighting any of the bigger arc that require a lot of shots and grenades and noise, you're always running the risk of getting third-partied. It happens to me constantly. I'll run into a leaper or a bastion or something and I'll start fighting it, and then a team shows up after I've already almost taken the thing out and they start shooting at me, and a lot of times it ends up with me dying because I've already burned through a lot of heals and ammo trying to fight this thing to begin with. I just accept that that's part of the game. It's an extraction shooter. I know that if I'm making a bunch of noise on the map, I'm probably going to attract attention. That's kind of a video game thing in general. It's not surprising to me. Is it a bit annoying? Yes, but I recognize that that's probably going to happen. And when I hear a team also making a bunch of noise across the map, I'm kind of drawn to it because I know that they're probably burning through their resources, and there's a good chance that I might be able to clean up whatever's going on and make it out with a bunch of really good loot. So this leads me to another point that I want to make. This is something that comes straight from the devs themselves. If you've paid attention to the dev team on social media, you'll see that they openly admitted that when they were making this game, they initially were making it with PvE in mind, and they recognized pretty quickly that it wasn't going to hold player attention the way that they wanted it to, and that they were going to need to have PvP in order for this game to be as engaging as possible. I think that was really wise of them. Looking at the game in the way that it is now, I could see how a game solely with PvE in mind would have been a little bit too easy, honestly. The Ark are dangerous, but most of the time they're not that hard to fight, and most of my deaths from Ark come because they third-partied me while I'm fighting somebody else, or I simply get swarmed by too many of them at once. Most of the time though, in individual cases or just a couple of them, I can usually win that without too much of an issue. And like I said earlier, the loot that the Ark drop is just not quite enough to really keep me wanting to go and fight them and grab their stuff. Like, it's just not rewarding enough. So the devs were able to recognize that they needed PvP, and they kind of backstepped a little bit and said that, well, it's more designed for creating tension within the environment and making it to where you don't really know what's going to happen. But that's a bit confusing because you create a game with everything that you need to play it as a PvP game, and then you turn around and say, well, we don't really want you to PvP, but we do want you to PvP sometimes. The reality of the situation is we're going to the surface, we're fighting a bunch of robots, we're trying to get a bunch of loot. There's going to be some people that don't really want to fight and just want to grab stuff and get out. And there's going to be some people that are just going to murder you in cold blood and do not care. I fit in the category of shoot first and ask questions later. I'm not playing any games. If I see you, more than likely I'm going to shoot you unless I am in a situation where I don't feel like I can win that fight. Then I'll probably try to hide from you. And if I can't hide from you, I might beg for my life, and I don't expect you to keep me alive. I expect you to kill me, honestly. There are some people that want to play much more passively and peacefully, and I know that some people really enjoy that. That's good for you. I don't see an issue with that, but you can't be mad at me for saying, no, I don't want to do that. The devs for the game recognize that this was a problem, that there's going to be people that just want to fight, and there's going to be people that really don't want to fight anybody. They've implemented a matchmaking system. This splits the game up between people who tend to shoot first and ask questions later, and people who tend to avoid killing other players at all costs. Aggression-based matchmaking, I guess you could call it. This means that when I go into my lobbies, the game recognizes that I am the type to shoot my gun at any player that I see and not really hesitate at all. So it puts me in lobbies with other players that are more than likely gonna just shoot at you if they see you. I'm perfectly fine with this. It doesn't bother me at all. I'd rather that, honestly, because playing the game and running into a bunch of passive players that don't really want to fight isn't really that fun. And also, most of these passive players aren't going to be running kits that are worth even taking off of them anyways. I want to fight the people that have really good loot, that when I loot their body, they're going to have a bunch of really good stuff, pink guns, stuff like that, that I can take out and actually feel like the fight was worth my time. Now, there's another thing in this game that I'm sure we've all dealt with, and this really applies to solos more than anything else, and that is when you go into a solo raid and you run into a player, it's not uncommon that that player is going to try to act like they're cool with you. They don't want to fight. They just want to loot, blah, 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 whatever. And then they wait until you're looting a body, or you're pulling the switch, or you're doing something where the odds of you being able to turn around and actually defend yourself is super low, and then they kill you. This is incredibly frustrating, and because you don't have a team, you pretty much are just going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it, and they're going to get all your loot because you turned your back and trusted this person. I've had a situation where there was a literal child came up to me and said, hey, I don't want to fight, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, cool. We're walking around together, running to some other teams. I'm pretty sure we even fought a team together. Everything was fine, and we get all the way to the exfil. We had a bunch of loot on us, and I was like, hey, that was cool, you know, fantastic. I go to pull the switch, and this kid shoots me in the back, takes all my stuff. That was the day that I decided I trust no one. No mercy anymore. No mercy, because I didn't want to kill him. I wanted to be friendly. I'd rather just let you live and you go do your own thing or whatever. And this is where I ended up. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I trust nobody. And I've stuck to that. And honestly, I've had a much better time just assuming that if I see you, you probably are going to kill me if you get the chance. This also means that in the instance that I do decide to act like I'm friendly with you, I'm simply waiting for my chance to betray you. It just is what it is. Unfortunate for you. I'm really sorry about it, but but you know what? I'm tired of dying like that. Now, this entire situation is really interesting to me because I've played other extraction shooters. In every other version of these games, there is no friendliness. Nobody's being friendly. If you see somebody, they are going to kill you. It's just what it is. In those games, the best loot always comes from taking out a team, grabbing all their gear, armor, guns, ammo, all that stuff, and getting to exfil with it. So coming into Arc Raiders, I'm coming from the perspective of somebody who's been playing other extraction games and recognizes the value of taking out other teams. And I think we can all agree that in Arc Raiders, it's very valuable to take out a team of people that have good gear on. You make it out with a lot of good stuff. I would appreciate if you guys took a minute, drop some comments, let me know your thoughts on the situation. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's sort of confused right now and doesn't really understand what this game wants me to do. I know that for some people, this game is a casual experience for them. I would definitely categorize this game as a casual extraction shooter as opposed to one that's a bit more hardcore. And they don't want to fight super sweaty streamers and, hardcore players all the time, and they would like to have a little bit more of a chill experience. But I also recognize that for arguably the majority of other people, they're going to want to fight. It's just the nature of video games, especially a game where they give you a gun. That's where most people are going to find the majority of their enjoyment in the game. I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I will catch y'all later. Peace, guys.